The following is an Infinity One Productions presentation, keeping it honest, insightful, interactive. Covering the latest in wrestling and beyond, you're listening to the RCWR Show with Lee Sanders and Diamond K.
Hope y'all are having a good, decent start to your week. Hope your weekend was very relaxful and you were able to kick back and enjoy. We got March Madness. Can you feel it? I personally can't feel it because I don't give a flying hoot about college basketball. It's all about the NBA for me. I know that might upset some people, but hey, I love NBA. That's where the real fun and action is for me. We got a chat room loaded up for you guys right now over on blogtalkradio.com. Get a free moment. Feel free to jump on in there. You can join in on a number of the topics that we'll be discussing on tonight's show. You can also kick back and interact with us on Twitter. Hit us up at Infinity1Prod. Hey, by the way, we have a new Twitter handle. It's over at the RCWR Show on Twitter. Follow that so that you never miss out on upcoming shows, give you all the information, special guests that might be dropping by. Check all that good stuff out. It's at the RCWR Show. We just launched it about maybe 2-3 weeks ago. We had launched it, so it's been kind of picking up a little bit of traffic. I can't really complain too much. All right, so we're definitely going to be talking about the fallout from Monday night's WWE Raw. As, was a little bit of a snoozer of an episode, if you will. Me and Diamond K will be going into great depth about Monday's episode, and we're going to give you the final verdict if Raw was that bad of an episode. And, right before we jump into it, I want to just take this time out to thank those of you that had checked out our weekend edition of the RCWR Show. Yeah, it made that be one of the most listened to and downloaded shows over the weekend. So, man, shout out to you. If you had checked it out on the downloads or you checked it out on the Blog Talk Radio website, we really appreciate you guys that took the time out to check it out. And also, I wanted to let you guys know, we know the month is almost out. And we had told you guys that we were trying to do our damnedest to see if we can get special guests to drop on by the show. And it's really been just a bad little funk of a month that we've been having. And, it all kind of started off there when we had got the bad news that Awesome Kong had canceled. And we've been trying to send out emails to folks. And the thing is, a lot of the people that we've been reaching out to, their schedule, it's just really ridiculous. They just don't have the time to do a show this month. We're going to keep trying for you guys. Hopefully we can bring in a couple of new people. If not, then, hey, we really can't be tripping over it too bad. I mean, after all, we're making up for it in a huge way, and we'll share the details about that later on in tonight's show. But, for now, hey, it is what it is, but we're still trying. We're trying very hard. One name I can definitely not share with you all who we are trying to get onto the show. Let me put it to you this way. This person, who I will not name, as, I don't want to have this show be one of those type of shows where, we're bashing folks. What I can tell you, if you put two and two together, what I can tell you is that this person used to work for one of the major promotions that we cover weekly, sometimes monthly. That kind of gives you your first clue right there. Second thing I can tell you is that this person who I personally had touched bases with over the weekend to see if he'd be willing to come by the show, he said to me straight up, no, absolutely not, thanks. That was the email exchange. And when he gave that reply, I kind of kicked back and I said to myself, why is this guy giving me this type of a response? Did I say something that was offensive? So usually when I send out an email to somebody, I usually double check. I make sure I didn't say anything that might have been kind of degrading or insulting. And I read it back, and it was a really nice, respectful email that I sent out to him, letting him know about the show, why I'd like for him to grant us an interview. And it just goes to show you, and this is exactly what I said to myself after I had saw the response. I said, wow, this guy actually reflects that of what we see of him on television. He really is somewhat of a jerk. And unfortunately for this guy, we're definitely going to do our best to make sure that we don't try to reach out to him again. But for the record, I did email him back, and I said, look, if you have a problem with our content, or, you know, if you could kind of explain the reason why you kind of gave that type of response that you did, as it was rather peculiar. Most folks, they say no respectfully, but your response was a little kind of insulting. And I didn't hear anything back from him, so I guess he just thinks that he's all that in a bag of chips, and he doesn't really have time to do shows like ours. But, hey, all we were trying to do was spread the good word about him and a little bit about the wrestling endeavors that he's been embarking in as of late overseas. But, hey, it is what it is. Sometimes we come across that. We're still new. We're learning how to communicate with people, but that's definitely one person we are not going to be working with. I wish I could tell you guys the name of the person I'm talking about, but I don't want to start no war. I don't want there to be any beef, you know, but, hey, it is what it is. All right, so let's go on ahead on that note. I just thought that'd be a nice little funny story to share with you guys, as, you know, I don't always like to just kick back and just go straight into talking about the results from what you might have missed on Raw, so I hope you appreciate that side story. All right, and let's go ahead, let's jump right into it. We got the chat room, it's open. Jump on in there at Blog Talk. If you just want to kick on back and listen to the show live in progress right now, you can do so by calling 646-478-3525. Once again, that's 646-478-3525. Just listen for the props and choose the option to just kick back, listen to the episode. That's just in case you're having any browser problems at your end as you're checking out the episode. As we know from time to time, many of you have bad experiences with your browsers as you're listening to the show, so keep that phone number in mind. Don't worry, we'll probably give it out one more time during the course of the night. So WWE Raw was this past Monday night. We are now 19 days away from WrestleMania 29 in New Jersey. But, man, I must admit off the break, Raw really did not feel like they were selling WrestleMania. It just didn't come off that way this week. It just kind of felt like it was a typical episode of WWE Raw. It just felt like a snoozer of an episode. I almost forgot why I was watching again. And it just really had me kick back and kind of say to myself, man, the 3 hours was really dragging. It was a little bit excruciating at several points. I so wish that I was just able to kick back and watch something else. This was one of those nights that, despite it being WrestleMania season, I just wanted to kick back and, I don't know, maybe check out Netflix. I know Kevin Spacey's new show, House of Cards, that's been doing pretty good. We got Kevin Bacon in that new Fox series, The Following, and if you haven't checked that out, you want to try to see if you can grab some of those episodes on the downloads. That's been a phenomenal freaking series. I just felt like watching anything else other than Raw, and I'm just saying to myself, my God, can summer come any sooner? Because we're hearing the rumblings that Raw may go back to its 2-hour format. And this comes despite USA executives saying, oh, Raw has been a smash hit. Raw has been a success at its 3-hour mark. Oh, Raw should stay 3 hours according to the demographics, blah, 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 blah. You know, I'm like, okay, yeah, so you're boosting that it's good. Okay, that's fine and dandy. But when you see an episode like what we had got, okay, and for anybody that's wondering, where was The Rock? No, The Rock was not on Raw. And, folks, we tried to tell you guys, me and Diamond K, we tried to tell you guys at least weeks ago. We said, you know what, the first 2 to 3 weeks of Raw it's going to be like that. They're going to hit home runs, but I have a strong feeling that fourth week, it's going to be a little ice cold. Definitely the final 2 weeks, once they get The Rock back, the last two should be a home run. They should definitely be able to sell WrestleMania to those that may still be on the fence. And why people are a little bit stunned that Monday night was just so crappy, that it was so boring, it was just so dull. Folks, I don't know why you're surprised at this. I mean, we gave you guys, if you listen to our show on a weekly basis, we told you guys when The Rock was going to be showing up. We gave you his dates, okay? So people that are sitting up making these little tirade videos talking about where was The Rock this week? The Rock's been gone for too long. He's the WWE champion. Blah, 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 blah. Yakety smackety. Look, yes, he's the WWE champion, but he is also a mega Hollywood actor that is in blockbuster movies that are going to be coming out once a month all the way up probably until the end of summer. Again, something that we told you guys weeks back. So you guys had enough time to prepare for the type of episode that we had got this past Monday night. And let's pick it up. I'm just going to pick key highlights that I thought were very interesting. Monday night, it featured CM Punk, Undertaker, Brock Lesnar, Triple H, Paul Heyman, Chris Jericho, Dolph Ziggler, and my personal favorite, Fandango, as the road to WrestleMania continued. Now, Triple H, Brock Lesnar, we were left under the impression from last week that Hunter would be alone this week to offer his decision on accepting the match against Lesnar at WrestleMania, with the stipulation to be revealed after he signs a contract. Now, many expected Brock Lesnar to not be in the house this past Monday, but as we saw, Paul Heyman, he came out and he had a few words with Triple H, very heated words at that went so low as it went to the route of Heyman saying to Hunter that maybe his wife Stephanie should be the stipulation, and she being the one on the line. But then, yet again, maybe that should go to the loser. That would make the King of Kings just snap, get physical with former Paul E. Dangerous. We saw those security guards. They're coming out of nowhere, trying to come to the aid of Heyman. Triple H makes quick work out of two of the three guards. One guard there left standing. He's petrified. He literally leaves the ring. Kind of reminds me of a scene there with Uma Thurman in the first Kill Bill movie. And she's just slaying all the bad guys in that little Tokyo bar or whatever. And the last guy standing is a little punk-ass kid, and she just spanks the hell out of him with her sword and sends him crying home. That's kind of what that had reminded me of right there. And it really kind of came off as if Triple H was just really, really enjoying the physical beatdown that he was giving Paul Heyman. I mean, just smacking him up, ripping his shirt, smacking him on the chest. I mean, it just disturbingly reminded me of a scene from Deliverance with John Voight and Burt Reynolds. If you don't know about that movie, you might want to look that up when you get a chance. That's all I got to say about that. Squeal! Squeal! That's all I'm giving you guys now. If you guys saw that movie, then you know exactly what I'm talking about, and you'll get that. For those of you that don't, Netflix, maybe checking it out from Redbox, maybe ordering it on Amazon. That's probably your best bet to check out that movie to know what I'm talking about. But we see Triple H, he signs on the dotted line, and it turns out Brock Lesnar was in the house, coming out looking like an animal, just screeching as he has a steel chair in hand, slamming it down. Looks like we're about to see this WrestleMania match go down a little early, but Heyman stops Lesnar, reminding him we got Hunter right where we want him. Paul Heyman, no stranger to Triple H. He has played him like a violin off and on since we've seen him back in the company this past year. Once again, played him very well, as it's revealed that he did all this just to work up Triple H to sign on the dotted line as the match that's going to be taking place at this year's WrestleMania between the two men. It's going to be a no-holds-barred match. I know, that doesn't really have enough sizzle to it, right? That's just a gimmick match, folks, okay? The stipulation that was applied to that match is none other than if Triple H loses, then his career is over. Now, let's just pause right there. Now, we were talking about this briefly last week. We talked about this definitely on our weekend edition of the RCWR Show, and I went on record. I said, honestly, I hope the route that they were thinking about, which possibly could have been a stipulation MMA type of match, MMA rules, hopefully they don't go that route because that would just be a little bit too insulting to the WWE Universe, but especially insulting to the hardcore MMA fans everywhere. Okay, not just in America. I mean, MMA, it's pretty much universal. You don't need to understand English, Spanish. Just put your TV on mute, watch two guys beat the living shit out of each other. Okay, that's pretty much MMA. Anybody can relate to that. So I'm really glad that they did not go down that route. And the fact that they're doing this whole Triple H career is on the line. Diamond, are you a little bit surprised that they kind of went this route? Because the impression I'm kind of getting from this new stipulation being added, it's already a no-brainer. Triple H is going to win at WrestleMania, but now they're trying to put that thought out there. They're trying to leave folks with that impression that Triple H, his back is really pressed up against the corner. He has a lot to be fighting for at this WrestleMania.
Yeah, well, you know, I'm not 100% sure that he doesn't lose. You know, why not make him lose? And you know, you can always play some type of shenanigans with him, with the loss. You know, if Triple H is not ready to check out, and I don't quite think that he is. Yeah, I think that they should go with a. Well, I mean, it's two schools of thought because I think Cena's going to win against The Rock, and I also think that Punk's going to end the streak. So I guess if you go about it, if Punk ends the streak, then Triple H is going to win. If the streak doesn't end, then Triple H will lose. But I'm thinking that they're going to end the streak. So then again, I guess I have to remake my thoughts then on the Triple H. They're going to try to balance it out.
Yeah, because you know, I can't help but kind of kick back, Diamond, and say everybody has bowed down to the King at some point. You know, you can't go to that WWE Championship without first going through Triple H. I mean, we've seen guys like John Cena, guy you just named. We've even seen The Rock. We've seen Kane. We've seen Undertaker. We've even seen CM Punk. We've seen Sheamus. We've seen Randy Orton. All these guys currently on the WWE roster, they've all fallen before the King of Kings. And, you know, I can't help but kick back and say, okay, look, Brock Lesnar, he got one on Triple H last year. It's now time for Triple H to collect. You got to pay the piper. And, I mean, quite honestly, you know, I know Triple H has come a long way from the Triple H that we used to hate on a weekly, monthly basis, who could never do the right thing and job to somebody. And you would think that maybe the proper way that this storyline should go is Triple H loses, you know, but then you kind of got to dig down the surface a little bit more. What career is on the line exactly? Is it his wrestling career that's on the line? Because he's pretty much been a part-time wrestler for, God, at least, the past year and a half, 2 years it kind of feels like? So yeah. Is it his wrestling career that's on the line? Is it his WWE executive role that's on the line? What exactly is on the line as far as his career goes? I need a little bit more help clearing that up, because right now, if you're talking about his wrestling career, well, he can kind of do without his wrestling career because he's been a freaking part-timer. So, I mean, if you're booking this, then the right way to say, Diamond, is, okay, you know what, then Brock should get it, he should get it. But I just don't feel that they're going to go that route.
But, I mean, you can do Brock retires. I mean, he can do some big, elaborate retirement speech and then fade off into the sunset and stay gone for a while and end up end up coming back in a few months, maybe SummerSlam or something like that, coming out of retirement, for some kind of reason. I mean, there's definitely ways you can do it and make it intriguing. I think that really, in order for things to really kick off to a good start, I think that honestly, Brock needs to win and dominate going forward with a lot of momentum.
Mm-hmm.
I also think that Taker needs to lose to CM Punk. Even though I don't approve of where they're going with this, but I think that at the end of the day, Punk could really use this rub from this victory.
And we'll definitely talk more about that. I want to stay on Brock Lesnar because I know this kind of fired up some people. So I mean, we got many in the WWE universe that wondered how this rematch that was destined to happen was going to all come together in a way they can feel invested into it. Now, just to recap, in case you might have missed it, actually there's some of you that we know don't watch WWE Raw. We got to give a shout-out to one of our listeners. She knows exactly who she is because she usually checks out our content on YouTube. So, honey, you know exactly who you are. Matt, shout-out to you. Okay, we see Brock Lesnar, Triple H. Everything comes back full circle as Lesnar 3 weeks ago, F5's Vince McMahon. All right. Then within recent weeks, we've seen Brock Lesnar destroy Triple H's good friends, Road Dogg, Billy Gunn, New Age Outlaws, members of D-Generation X. Now we got this new stipulation added that Triple H is fighting for his very livelihood, honor of his friends and family. Is this story alone, Diamond, enough to make people invest into this match? Is it enough to make them want to order it on pay-per-view, knowing the outcome could possibly be Triple H getting the win over Brock Lesnar?
Well, what does that help? That doesn't help anything.
Mm-hmm.
Triple H getting the win and then going back into the proverbial executive boardroom. That doesn't help. That to me, that just doesn't help anybody.
Mm-hmm.
And I understand it's WrestleMania, and he wants. To me, the outcome of this match and how the match plays out shows us how much Triple H, how far he's come as a booker.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because, I mean, honestly, if they're going to go down the route of Triple H picking up the win, I mean, he's going to be compared to Kevin Nash. A lot of people, a lot of wrestling fans, they are still very mad that Kevin Nash, when he was the booker there in WCW, they have not let that go. And I would dare say they will be very quick to link Triple H to that if this match goes down with him picking up the win. And, personally, I'm just thinking about how things have been playing out so far, as far as WWE writers making us feel invested into this match. And I just kind of feel like there's not enough sizzle. I don't know, you know what I'm saying? It seems like, personally, what I would have liked to seen happen, had we had about maybe 3-4 more weeks of Raw, I would have liked to have seen maybe HBK, Kevin Nash, X-Pac all return for, brief cameos, and they get attacked by Brock Lesnar. And this could have been set up in a way where, remember how they did NXT a couple of months back where they had the Shield? They had their little run-in briefly. I would have liked to have seen WWE kind of capitalize on that momentum because it kind of seemed like they were giving fans a new reason to go check out the NXT product. I would have liked it had they kind of had some type of a scenario go down where, just picture it, you hear on the WWE.com website, the night after Raw or Wednesday night, whenever they tape NXT, picture the headline on the WWE website: Brock Lesnar attacks Sean Waltman, a.k.a. X-Pac of D-Generation X. And you're like, what the hell? And basically, X-Pac was there to greet fans, yada, yada, yada. Brock Lesnar comes out, F5s him. And, that could have been, something to really kind of feel invested in, because you're kind of saying to yourself, oh, wow, so Brock Lesnar has destroyed basically DX/The Click. And you could have put the little icing on the cake. I know I said this a couple of weeks back. I still kind of feel Stephanie, could have been that thing that kind of just really set Triple H off. Not necessarily an F5. I know I said that. I'll retract that, okay, because I know that's a little too hardcore for PG. But they could have went in a route where Brock Lesnar, he could have been with Stephanie in a backstage segment. It's she's like close to coming into physical harm. And Triple H just comes out of nowhere and, like knight in shining armor. I mean, we're now hearing rumblings that they're probably going to dust off HBK Shawn Michaels to help further along this little program. Diamond, is HBK really needed? Do you think WWE has been doing a good job of pushing this storyline minus those options I gave?
I mean, I'd rather see the X-Pac thing. I don't think the HBK is needed, really.
Mm-hmm.
He could sit this one out.
Mm-hmm.
And he's one of my all-time favorites, but he's not needed.
No. You're right. He's really not, especially when it's still fresh on a lot of people's minds. Last time we saw Shawn Michaels, Brock Lesnar, Paul Heyman, they ganged up on him in the backstage parking lot, and I believe Brock had broke his arm or whatever, or he followed up on it minutes later. I know he had him hostage there for a little bit, and he was dragging him around like a rag doll. But yeah, I agree. But I mean, the X-Pac thing, oh my God, that would have been so freaking perfect. It could have been like, oh my God, he destroyed the Click, and then you could have had some great little video montage showing Brock Lesnar destroying Shawn Michaels, Vince McMahon, New Age Outlaws, the X-Pac. I mean, that just would have been freaking awesome, especially if you could even had big sexy Kevin Nash maybe do a little something too. I know last time around he wasn't cleared to wrestle for them, but surely I've seen him do a little something recently. I think it was for what's David Hero's promotion? GLCW?
Yeah.
I think I saw him do a little something down there. So it's like, okay, well, surely he could take a bump to really kind of, I just kind of felt we could have gotten a little bit more sizzle with that. But, I mean, it is what it is. Unfortunately, folks, we only got 2 more Raws left. And at this point, I expect them to just do more rehashing of videos, show what happened the week before, really hype it up, whatever. But that's how I would have set it up. But good points that we both had made about that. Let's see what some of you all are saying in the chat room. I know we got Philip in there. Philip is still tripping over Raw being 3 hours. They need to go back to its 2-hour format. Yeah, I think it's safe to say we both agree on that, but we'll touch up on that a little bit more. Talk about Chris Jericho, Diamond. Chris Jericho came close to becoming the new Intercontinental Champion for a record-breaking 10th time. I mean, he's already holds the record as it is for 9 times, but 10 would just really be extending it even further, but he was denied as Wade Barrett is still champion. We've wondered for weeks what was going on with Chris Jericho, as the WWE writers, they kind of came off not really sure how to utilize him. A move I'm still a little dumbfounded about, as he's constantly on the VH1 specials, including the hit series That Metal Show. He's hosting his own show on Sci-Fi right now. So I'm a little dumbfounded that WWE writers, they've kicked back and they've kind of been like, what do we do with Chris Jericho? But luckily, we see him bump into the one and only Fandango. And Fandango trying to get Chris Jericho to say his name properly. Jericho just having a field day, just making fun of his name, even going with the whole ticket reference. And just combining all that, Diamond, with the grand entrance we had saw earlier in the night from Fandango, Pyro and everything, looks like Jericho, Fandango, WrestleMania. How you feel about that?
Yeah, I feel good about that. I like the whole Fandango, if I'm saying it right, gimmick. I like the whole thing. I think it's a very good mid-card angle, and Jericho getting involved is a plus for him. Who would have thought, if you had said a year ago that Curtis would be in WrestleMania? He probably would have got laughed out of the building, but he has the possibility, and it looks like that way. Maybe match 1 or match 2, but it looks like he's going to be on the bill.
Yeah, and I mean, you talk about the faith that WWE has in this young man. I mean, the gimmick makes the man. I mean, let's be for real here. And we heard some people in that crowd, and it was a weak Pittsburgh crowd too. I normally love Pittsburgh. I usually love the crowd reactions, but for this Raw at the Energy Council Arena, I mean, they were just like, who died is what I kept asking, because, I mean, it was just quiet throughout the whole 30 hours, I couldn't help but say, damn, I know Paul Bearer died a couple of weeks ago, but who died this week? Because you guys, you're mourning? What's going on? And the chance of you can't wrestle, I just couldn't help but sit up. And normally I'm very calm, I'm very collected, I'm very mellow, but when I heard that Diamond, I'm saying to myself, you guys are so freaking stupid. If you do your homework, Johnny Curtis is a damn good wrestler. He just didn't have the right type of gimmick. Now, I'm not saying Johnny Curtis is a Chris Jericho, but he is along the likes of I've seen some of his stuff. He is among a Kofi, somewhat of a John Morrison, a Miz. He's got a mix of that, but he's no Kurt Angle or a Brock Lesnar, or he's not hardcore technical. So I'm hearing these folks chanting, and I'm thinking to myself, you guys aren't getting it. They're trying to hype up this character. You can't wrestle. That you say that when you see somebody in the ring wrestle. Okay, say that to Great Khali. He can't wrestle worth a damn.
And they do.
And they do. But to direct that towards Fandango, I'm like, what's going on with today's WWE Universe, Diamond? I mean, we see examples like this where they're using these chants that have no business being said. I mean, I can remember one particular match. God, I want to say it might have been during the Royal Rumble. I got to play it back, but I could have sworn the WWE Universe was saying when Chris Jericho came out, "You still got it." It's like, but he never lost it. What are you talking about? He was just away for a couple of months. What the hell you mean he still got it? It's like, I don't know, man. Some of the wrestling fans, they're a little, But I was upset. I'm like, really, Fandango can't wrestle. If Fandango couldn't wrestle, then they wouldn't have invested all this time and hype trying to put him over.
With the gimmick that he's scared to wrestle. I think they're trying to. I think that's more so what they're trying to appeal to. How do you feel when fans chant, after a high spot, ROH or TNA, or how they used to chant ECW after some type of a big spot? How do you feel about that?
Now that can be a little different. I mean, it depends. Like, I know sometimes, depending on the promotion, like, for watching a TNA, for example, you see a good high spot, and they're like, TNA. It's like, okay, well, if the spot was that damn good, like maybe an Ultimate X match, and we see some crazy stuff happening on top of that little X steel cable that they be climbing for the belt. Okay, yeah, I don't mind that, I don't mind the occasional ECW chants, that is if you have the right people that have been affiliated with ECW in the ring. I don't mind it. So as long as it makes sense, that's my whole thing.
Right.
Like the Ryback whenever he's doing his thing, and you got the Goldberg chants. Oh yeah, I get that. But I don't know. I think you brought up a very valid point. Maybe the fans, that's just their way of saying, hey, this guy's not wrestling because he can't wrestle. So as long as that doesn't happen at WrestleMania as he's actually wrestling, I think then it would kind of be like, and he's actually putting his best A game. I think if fans would have seen the exchange with Fandango and Jericho first, then you have Fandango come out talking with Great Khali. I wonder if that response would have happened because I think at that point your wrestling fan would have said, "Oh my God, they got him rubbing off one with Jericho. Okay, something's about to happen. Something big's about to happen."
I thought he was going to interfere in that IC match.
I was so looking for it too. Yeah. How about that?
Yeah.
I mean, where do you see this going now? I mean, we both gave ideas on this. We thought maybe Antonio Cesaro would make a cameo as he still has unfinished business with Miz. That didn't happen. We thought maybe it was going to be Fandango. That didn't happen. So what do you see happening now with that Intercontinental and the U.S. title?
I really don't know. I mean, the triple threat match could have been a WrestleMania, opener. At this point, I really can't bear another Miz Wade Barrett match. I really don't know where they're going. Whatever happened to the NXT guy?
With who?
The NXT guy that was feuding with Wade Barrett for about 2 weeks.
I was about to say Bo Diddley. Bo something. Bo Jangles? Something.
Yeah.
I know who you're talking about. Bo something.
Bo something, yeah.
Bo something. Bo knows
Dallas.
baseball.
Bo Dallas. Yeah, Bo Dallas.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know what they're going to do with Wade Barrett, and I haven't really been pleased with the whole storyline that they've had him in with the, the little cameo in the movie and all of that. I really want them to get away from that.
I mean, it kind of goes back to something that I'm sure you remember hearing or reading about. I think it was last week or about 2 weeks ago, the WWE writers, they've been pressured big time to try to give Vince McMahon more options for episodes of Raw as well as options for WrestleMania because he really wanted to have the undercard be pretty exciting to check out. But and I say that because we've seen a couple of scenarios go down, Diamond, where it looks like 1 week we're possibly going to get Cesaro, Miz. Then Miz ventures off into Wade Barrett there. So you're kind of saying to yourself, okay, well, maybe it's going to be Wade Barrett and the Miz. But then you see Sheamus come in, and he's doing his thing with Wade Barrett for a couple of weeks. So you're thinking maybe it's going to be the two of these guys getting it on for the Intercontinental title, but then it goes into a Shield route. So, I mean, it's just, on the one hand, it's very confusing, but then on the other hand, I'm kind of looking at it and I'm saying to myself, maybe they're trying to plan in seeds of where they would like to go after WrestleMania. That's one way I'm kind of looking at. I'm hoping that's the route that they're trying to go.
That's a good point. I didn't think about it like that.
Yeah.
And we definitely going to have that lull before, that lull after the storm. And you definitely want them to set something up. Did you think it was interesting that well, I won't get too far ahead, but that, some of the matches that they set up, are you surprised at how WrestleMania is really shaping up?
I really am. And the Fandango Chris Jericho, that's the one that just really kind of blew me away because it was like we didn't really get that much to really talk about after Raw went off the air because, it was a drag in 3 hours. But for me, that was definitely one of my main highlights. And you want to talk about WrestleMania debuts. Big E Langston is finally going to happen. We're going to see him throw it down with Dolph Ziggler as they team up to take on Team Hell No's Kane and Daniel Bryan for those titles. Is this the beginning of the end for Team Hell No?
Yeah, I mean, I think, putting the belts on Ziggler and Big E would actually not be a bad idea.
But here's the thing. Do you think the route that they could possibly go, and we haven't seen it in a while, Diamond, do you think we could see Dolph Ziggler hold a tag title and a world heavyweight title at the same time? I mean, because I'm still kicking back saying to myself, when is this guy going to cash in the briefcase? Because the way I'm kind of looking at it, do you think it could happen at WrestleMania? I mean,
nah, I don't think WrestleMania, but right after, within the next month or so. I think, at this point, he could probably go all the way down to right till the end.
Yeah, unless they want to insult the WWE universe with the way that they had set this up. And for you guys that don't remember, whoever wins that Money in the Bank briefcase, they have 1 year to cash it in. That supposedly that's the storyline behind it. So they have until the next Money in the Bank pay-per-view, or I would think the day after the Money in the Bank pay-per-view, a year later, to cash it in. But here's the thing, and I think it would be brilliant if WWE executed this if they're really not sure about pulling the trigger on Ziggler. There is a loop, and that loop went down a couple of months back when Dolph Ziggler had took on John Cena for that Money in the Bank briefcase. It was on the line, and he did win it back. So I wonder if that might be the loop that's needed right there to give Dolph Ziggler another year to cash in the briefcase.
That's crazy.
It's crazy, but I mean, just think about what we've been. It's crazy, but think about what we've been seeing. I mean, it seems like WWE they're not quite ready just yet. So it's like, okay, you're not quite ready. You know you're going to have those internet darlings that's going to kick back and say, hey, his year is up. Why hasn't he cashed it in? Isn't it non-void now? You're going to have to look for a loop.
Yeah, I mean, what about this? What if he has a hard-fought match, Del Rio wins after a hard-fought match, and he cashes in? Takes the title from Del Rio.
Where would it take place? Would this be on a pay-per-view or the edition of SmackDown?
Yeah, maybe the edition of SmackDown.
But 9 times out of 10, that's how he's going to get it.
Yeah, edition of SmackDown. I mean, I think if you do it at WrestleMania, it kind of get lost in the shuffle. They're kind of expecting it. He could do it at WrestleMania. Because I think that his match will be on before the world title match, or maybe not. But he could do it there, but I think it's better to do it at an edition of SmackDown.
They do it so well on SmackDown, yeah. I mean, they really need to do it there, yeah. I'm curious because I can't remember off the break, and I meant to look this up. Maybe you know. Because we're going to see 2 WrestleMania debuts. When was the last time we saw a WrestleMania debut?
Last time we saw a WrestleMania debut? Been some time. I'm trying to think. The Eddie Guerrero and Rey Mysterio's appearances were those debuts. Those were debuts.
Really?
I'm thinking it had to be at some point in time. But I mean, as far as a new character, completely new character, I can't think of any off the top.
What about WrestleMania match debuts?
What about what?
WrestleMania match debuts.
Yeah, that's what I mean. I as far as appearance of a wrestler.
Yeah.
I really can't think of any. I mean, because this was really not the time that Vince normally introduces any new characters.
Exactly.
So this says a lot for both guys. I think this is going to be Ryback's first WrestleMania as well.
Yeah. Come to think about it, yeah, we got three guys there. Yeah,
three guys right there.
Yeah,
that's unheard of.
Oh, wait, 6 Shields, the Shield.
You're right. Yeah,
a lot of new blood at this year's WrestleMania. Fans can't complain.
They will, but they can't.
Yeah, they're going to find something to complain about. Yeah. As expected, we saw John Cena. We knew that he was going to be back. We kind of flirted with this last week. We said, okay, look, we had a week there where John Cena, Dolph Ziggler, John Cena, The Rock, they were not on WWE programming. They relied on that video footage, great video footage, nice little song that they selected for that piece by Civil Twilight, Letters from the Sky. And if you guys want an honest album review of their debut album that came out a couple of years back, rewind it back to the weekend edition of the RCWR Show from this Saturday. I actually give you the 411 for that album as well as their new album that's out. We knew one of these guys had to come back. We already knew it wasn't going to be The Rock, so it was going to have to be John Cena, who did a poor job, Diamond, of trying to get fans into this match. He was pretty much just rehashing what we pretty much have already heard. Luckily, we saw Titus O'Neil, Darren Young, they come out. Although that segment was just a little bit too long, as always with the comedy skits. It was good on the Raw Active app. I guess Vince thought, hey, let's see what happens when we bring it to actual Raw television. Seemed like it was just exaggerated, just too overlong, too drawn out. And as always, Diamond, we see John Cena rip into a wrestler, the gimmick. I mean, when Edge, Eddie Guerrero, Booker T, when they kind of do it, it's, even when Triple H does it, it's funny. But when Cena does it, and you pointed this out, when Cena cuts on somebody, it's, it kind of stings. And the shot that he took at Titus and his whole gimmick, talking about how he can hook him up with a psychiatrist from the area, it just led into a squash match between Cena, Darren Young. I mean, if you had the Raw Active app, then you were able to see the match in its entirety, but it comes back from commercial, match is over in about 40 seconds. Your thoughts on John Cena there? I mean, honestly, we could have did without him.
Yeah, I mean, I was hoping that we were going to not see him. The fact that they really held back on him and The Rock and not overexposing them like they did in previous years, I think was a good thing. But, Cena just doesn't have the wrestling IQ, if you will, to pull off things. I mean, the way he cut the promo on The Rock, building The Rock up, and The Rock building him up as well, is the way that you're supposed to do it, no matter who you're, facing. Because if you don't build up your opponent and you defeat them, you defeated a nobody. So it's much better to build the opponent up. Cena really does not do that, and despite all that, though, Titus is a future guy with a ton of potential.
Yeah, without a doubt, and I know that probably had to sting what he had heard. I don't think even that was cleared, by them, because I mean, we know John Cena's been in there for a good while now, so there's probably some stuff that he can say that is not part of the script, and that just really kind of came off like a personal shot, pop shot at that. And honestly, I think we definitely could have done without Cena. I think this should have been another week where we should have seen a new repackaged video highlights talking about John Cena, his path towards redemption, getting back the title. Then maybe we could have seen something from The Rock. Now here's the flip side to that. Are we disappointed with how WWE has been utilizing The Rock in his absence, and we definitely got to make sure we focus on that, because we've seen the people, they've been taking the tout, they've been taking to YouTube. We've even seen ESPN complain about The Rock not being there. We all already know why he's not there. But I think the main focus should be, are we disappointed with the way WWE has been utilizing him when they have him back? Because if there's ever a time to get The Rock and say, look, we know you're not going to be on TV for about 2 weeks or whatever. Let's tape some stuff that we can show till you come back.
Well, I think that the flip side of that is just that, they did that before, and I think that The Rock has been more effective with less of the signature Rock stuff and more of the just get down to business Rock. And when you pre-tape him, he's more prone to go into the, glitz and glamour, Rock.
And to my knowledge, folks, and I could be wrong on this, but last I heard, The Rock hasn't even been traveling with the WWE title for, of course, G.I. Joe. It's already opened overseas in some places. And the other movie he had before that, what was that, Snitch? He hasn't been touring with the WWE title. So it's kind of like, I'm sorry, but if I'm a booker, I'm kicking back and I'm kind of saying, my God, you're supposed to be helping us. You're supposed to be helping push, WrestleMania. Put the title around your freaking shoulder, show it off. Have what you've been seeing and hearing at your end, has that been the same case? Has he been at least appearing on Jay Leno and them with the belt?
I haven't heard any, but still some time. His movie doesn't open up for another couple of weeks, so I would say that if he was going to hit those outlets, it would be the week before or the week of. Yeah.
I kind of agree with what you're saying there, though. It's like, that might have been a little bit too much exposure and all that, but they could have done it in a way where they could have kind of emulated what they had did with Rock versus Cena, which was an awesome documentary. It would have been nice had they kind of maybe gone that route. And honestly, I would have settled for a video package this week chronicling The Rock's announcement that he was going to be challenging the WWE champion at the Royal Rumble, show his journey to getting the title all the way up to now. I would have been satisfied with that this week, but we didn't even get that. It was like, okay, John Cena, go out there and see what you can do. And within 11 to 15 minutes of boredom, he just didn't get the job done, which once again proves what a lot of people have been saying about John Cena. 1 minute, he is just ice cold. You can't stand him. But then there are those some rare nights where he cuts a very memorable promo. But the bad outweighs the good.
Yeah, the thing about it is that Cena is a wrestling fan. It's just that it doesn't always translate well with his ring psychology, and that includes leading up to matches. If you look at the way he's squashed different people, I was very critical of him during his feud with the what were they called, Nexus, and the way that he handled them. It's just his ring psychology, the way he builds up his opponents. Honestly, Del Rio has not been the same since his feud with Cena.
God, no. Touch of death. Neither has Wade Barrett, for that matter.
Yeah.
If we're really being honest, Wade Barrett was the hottest freaking thing. God, I can remember all the freaking reports that used to be circulating around. Wade Barrett, writers are thinking about pulling the trigger and making him be the next WWE champion. You're like, whoa, okay. And then he works with Cena, and it's like, dude, just all the way back down, They're like, dang. Well, that's two guys right there that have felt the, if there was anything equivalent to the Madden curse, it would be the Cena curse.
Miz as well.
Who?
The Miz?
Yeah. Oh, hell yeah. Yeah, after WrestleMania, it was over for him. Yeah. He's still struggling. We were briefly talking about black people there with Darren Young, Titus O'Neil. We got the newest inductee into the WWE Hall of Fame. Five time. I better stop because it was actually 6-time. World Heavyweight Champion Booker T. Diamond.
I think it's well deserved. I think it's perfect. He can't headline a WrestleMania Hall of Fame himself. Slipping him in with the all that's going on with the current crop and class. I think that he holds up fine in there. I'm really glad that they didn't put Paul Bearer in there. But I think Booker T is a good second tier, kind of guy, and I think he's deserving of it. I don't know about Donald Trump, but I think that Booker T is definitely deserving.
Yeah, I would definitely agree. With that. And how far along we've come along. I just remember those periods where it kind of seemed like Booker T was the laughing joke in WWE. I remember all the great matches that he had with his brother Stevie in WCW, Harlem Heat, of course. You think about his upbringings, and I said this on a piece I did on YouTube, but it really just stands out in my mind, and it speaks large volumes. You think about his rough upbringings in Houston, Texas. Troubled kid, got in trouble with the law, actually did jail time, and comes out, and he's just trying to rebuild himself in his life and be a better person. He realizes that, hey, I don't have to continue going down this path. I could go down this route because this route's more positive. It'll take me to good things. And look where he is now. And I'm definitely excited for the man. There was some periods of time there in WWE that, they kind of utilized him wrong. I thought when he first came in as part of the whole WCW invasion, I thought that was freaking awesome. It was kind of fun seeing Stone Cold eventually go over to that side, but I thought it was nice that off the break it was Booker T, and he's doing his thing with Stone Cold, and what was that, he took on The Rock there. Let's not forget Booker T was part of the NWO. That was kind of interesting there. It was revitalized NWO with X-Pac, Kevin Nash, HBK. I'm missing one other person in there. Booker T has done a lot. Of course, King Booker. That really put him on the map. That was my most excited time checking out Booker T. TNA wrestling. He did okay in TNA. A little bit of rehash stuff, but I'm definitely proud for the man. I do think that he deserves it, and that comes despite playing that sound clip that I had played. But that for me was another period of Booker T that I had enjoyed quite a lot. And that's actually why I had played it, because as soon as I heard the announcement, that was actually just one of the first major rivalries that stood out in my mind was when he had threw it down with Triple H at Mania 19. And I could just remember how excited I was getting behind Booker T and saying, my God, could it be? It's been a while, but could we actually see an African-American shut the mouth of Triple H where it counts the most at WrestleMania? And I just remember just almost breaking the TV when Triple H had won. I said, God damn it, I'm never watching WWE again. Triple H is racist. just hysterical stuff. But I'm definitely proud. I'm proud of Booker T. CM Punk, Undertaker took another turn, I think, for the worse, as if last week wasn't flirting with borderline disgust. This past Monday, they they kind of went over that line there. CM Punk saying, "Oh shit," dropping the urn, playing with it, and all of that. How'd you enjoy that segment? Oh, Diamond, lost you, buddy. Say something.
I don't really know where to go on that one.
Run with it, buddy. It's all yours. I'm marinating.
I mean, am I more excited? I would say this. Am I more excited about this WrestleMania than last year's WrestleMania? I would at this same time, I would probably say no. I think I was more excited last year with the hype, but they do have time, and they definitely have my attention. Looking at some of these lineups and some of these potentials, any sleeper hits that you think could come out and just steal the show and just catch everybody off guard?
At WrestleMania this year?
Yeah.
Definitely Fandango and Jericho. I think fans that have been taking mad craps on Johnny Curtis and his new gimmick, I think they're going to be in for a major shock. I think they're going to be quite pleased with his match with Jericho. And, just remember that we've been cheering him on all along. And you're welcome to come on over to our side, though. But I think that's the one a lot of people are going to be talking about. I think the second one would have to go to. I would have to go with. I like CM Punk and Jack Swagger. I think that's going to be a really good technical match. I'm really looking forward to that one. I think that one's going to have a lot of people talking. Third one would definitely have to be Undertaker, CM Punk. If I'm ordering this, that's exactly the way I would properly order this. And at the bottom, I would have Rock, Cena. Could it top what they did last year? Without a doubt. But I think when you just play back in your mind the best matches in that specific order, I think Cena, Rock will unfortunately be at the top, at the bottom there. But CM Punk, Undertaker this week, they little tacky.
Yeah, a lot tacky.
Yeah.
The inclusion of the urn to the degree that they're doing, I think, is too much. Dropping the urn, I think, was damn sure too much.
Mm-hmm.
Acting like the urn's talking, too much. I mean, he's been dead for 2 weeks.
Yeah. I couldn't help but go, okay, this is good, but it's bad. It's risque. You're pushing the envelope. You're going within the limits of your PG rating. I dig it, but man, it's only been 2 weeks, and it's kind of like, there was that numb period where after Jerry Lawler had his heart attack, they just, they just kind of left it alone. I mean, maybe you kind of heard somebody like CM Punk come out and say, well, he had no business being out there, and, that's probably what would have happened to him. If I would have fought him, he probably would have had a heart attack. But, I mean, after that, it was just like they left it alone. But then, after he came back, and, some time went by. I think it was 3 months before we saw Lawler again. Even Lawler was kicking back, making jokes and all that good stuff. It's like, okay, but, it's still fresh in the minds of a lot of people. And, again, Diamond, I just can't help but wonder if Paul Bearer didn't die, a.k.a. William Moody, if he didn't die, what would they have done? Because I'm really left with the impression that they didn't have that much of anything. And the fact that they are just clinging on to this and exaggerating it even more, it speaks volumes to me in a way where whatever they had originally, it just wasn't cutting. Yeah, that's really it. But I mean, overall, this past week's Raw, a lot of quiet moments, only 2-3 major highlights for the show, as really you just couldn't help but kick back and say, when is the 3 hours going to be over? You know, we've seen some people, they've gone as far. Yeah, you know, you're going to have to endure it a little longer. I mean, we feel you guys. Yeah. You know, some of y'all are saying it was the worst Raw ever. I won't go that far. I think that's a little bit too extreme. I think we can all be in agreement, Diamond, that, you know, and we try to let you guys know this. We said the first 2-3 Raws, they're going to hit home runs, but they're going to hit a dry spell when they don't have The Rock for 2 weeks, but only to show up for the last 2 Raws. We tried to prepare you guys, so you knew the streak was going to end sooner or later.
Right.
You know, but it wasn't the worst Raw of the year. I would just say for WrestleMania season, there's just a lot more that they could have done, that they should have done, that they didn't do. And one of the things that I pointed out, a new Rock video package or even a new John Cena video package, that would have sufficed. That would have made up for Cena wasting 15 minutes of everybody's time. You know, Jericho redeemed himself very well from that poor highlight reel segment from last week. Notice we didn't even get Brad Maddox this week. I wonder if he got punished. You know. But I mean, you know, scale of 1 to 10, I think Raw was a 6. Would you agree?
Definitely.
Yeah. It was at least a 6. Yeah. I want to share with you guys some very good news. Diamond, you probably heard about this. It looks like Scott Hall, he's reached his goal. As a couple of weeks back, him and Diamond K, they had posted a little funding campaign over on Envigo, and basically the money that was going to be raised for Scott Hall, he was going to take care of his physical therapy, his hip replacement surgery, dental work, and the goal was for them to get $80,000. And as of tonight, with only 20 days to go, very happy to tell you guys they've reached $80,859. And if you would like to donate, you can still do so. Just hop on over to the website over at indigo.com, or you could do a Google search. You can just type in Scott Hall, we can rebuild him, and you'll actually, the first link, after you type it in the Google search, it'll take you right to there, and you can donate, and it'll give you an opportunity, I know as low as $10, $15, you can have your name be mentioned in the credits of an upcoming Scott Hall documentary. $50, you can chat with Scott Hall, video Skype. They got a grand package that's like $3,500. You get to go on down there and spend 2 nights with Scott Hall, Diamond Dallas Page, Jake the Snake Roberts. Man, that would be interesting. You know, I would love to do something like that. But, yeah, you know, so congrats to Scott Hall for reaching his goal there on Indiegogo is the actual name of the website. Let me give that to you guys one more time, Indiegogo. So type that up, and it'll take you over there. And for those of you that do donate, definitely thank you guys in advance. I know I definitely had donated as soon as the campaign was first announced. Diamond, looks like we heard some news there from a UFC fighter. I thought this was a hilarious chuckle. UFC fighter Chael Sonnen had recently ripped into the whole idea of Vince McMahon taking on Dana White. Here's what he had to say, direct quote right here. "There's easier ways to commit suicide, Vinny boy. Aren't you about 45 minutes from the George Washington Bridge? Reason your guys work in a ring and not in an octagon is because nobody on your roster can count to 8, you dope. Just because your teeth are fake, that don't mean they can't get punched out, you big mark. It'd be entertaining to see Dana White sweep him under the rug. He could use the one on top of Vince's head. You'd be so drunk against Dana, even your straight-edge champion, CM Punk, will feel tipsy. I'll help you out and tag along because you can't spell box office without SONNEN. How about it? Vince with Punk versus Dana with Chel P.
Yeah.
Lord have mercy. I don't know what's going on with that guy, but anyway, ESPN, they ripped into this past week's Monday Night Raw Diamond. Of course, one of the main things that they were taking a crack at was The Rock not being there, Raw being too overdrawn now. And, I mean, we're both in agreement, you know, but it's not going to end anytime soon. Raw does need to go back to its 2-hour format. You agree, disagree?
Agree.
You agree? Okay, yeah.
Agree.
And did you hear about Bully Ray there? Looks like he got in trouble a little bit for some homophobic slurs that he used last Thursday night.
Example, I guess, of getting caught up in the gimmick and the character, and sometimes that happens.
Yeah.
Speaking of that, one thing that I thought was funny, I always used to watch back the promo. I guess it was a Harlem Heat promo where Booker T called Hogan the N-word.
Mm-hmm.
And if you look quickly last night when they were showing the clips, they just showed the beginning part of that infamous promo, and they just got it where he says Hulk Hogan will come. I mean, they don't say Hulk Hogan; it just says we're coming for you. And then it cut away. I just thought it was funny, but I think Bully Ray guilty of a similar type of thing, just getting caught up in the moment and just kind of letting the words fly.
Yeah. I know Dixie Carter, she had apologized on his behalf and on the company's behalf. This isn't the first time that Bully Ray has gotten in trouble for some controversial words that he's used to describe a fan.
Right.
But you know, I think at this point he's the champion. You know, nothing's going to happen to him.
No.
Just like nothing happened to him before he was champion. As you said, he's just got heated in the moment. It happens. I mean, go back to what had went down with CM Punk there, punching out the fan. I mean, it happens, you know. I still love the guy. I still think Bully Ray is freaking awesome, and honestly, I don't think that fan took it rather personal. I think, if anything, he probably came on home after the event and said, Bully Ray got all in my face, you know, and he was probably excited about that. I mean, who wouldn't be? You know,
right.
You could be called every single dirty name in the book. You know, you're just like, oh, man, Bully Ray actually singled me out. Exactly what happened to that guy. Bully Ray singled him out and, you know, had his choice of words, and it is what it is. But, you know, fans that want to sit up and say Bully Ray should be fired and all that other stuff. I mean, first off, it's Bully Ray. I mean, he's got to live up to the freaking gimmick. I mean, come on, man. Seriously. I want to close out the show with a very interesting thing I had took a look at on WWE's website, Diamond, and I definitely want to pick your brain, see if you remember some of this stuff. The article that they had posted up was 10 but strange WrestleMania facts. Okay? 10 but strange WrestleMania facts. And if y'all didn't check this out, this was pretty good. One of them being, did you know Undertaker has sweeped the stable Evolution? Did you know that?
No, not at all.
Yeah. Well, there was that one WrestleMania where Undertaker fought Triple H for the very first time. A year after that, Undertaker took out Ric Flair. Then he took out Randy Orton at WrestleMania 21. And then at WrestleMania 23, Undertaker completed the sweep with Batista. And here's another one. At WrestleMania, the WWE and World Heavyweight title has been defended every time at every WrestleMania except for one event. Leading up to the inaugural WrestleMania, WWE Champion Hulk Hogan's friendship with Mr. T drew the ear of Roddy Piper and Mr. Wonderful Paul Orndorff, one of my favorite guys. The rivalry grew so heated that it required matters to be settled in a tag team match that served as the main event in 1985. And that was pretty much the one time that there was no world title on the line. It went down at that first WrestleMania. Miss Elizabeth is on the list for the night in 1988 where she had accompanied Randy Savage in each of his 4 matches wearing 4 unique different outfits that had caught a lot of people's attention. Here's another strange but interesting fact, and it's a WrestleMania fact.
Strange but true.
Strange but true. Did you know that Diamond Dallas Page was the chauffeur for the stable Rhythm and Blues?
Yeah, yes. Greg the Hammer Valentine, yes. Definitely, yeah. I remember that, and coincidentally, that was also his car that he drove to the ring.
WrestleMania 27, 53% of defending champions have successfully retained their title on the grandest stage of them all in the 105 title matches in the event's history. However, that success rate takes a nosedive in the context of every WWE Championship and World Heavyweight Championship on the line in the night's final bout. In those instances, this is interesting right here, only 30% of world champions heading into WrestleMania have come out on top in the 23 championship clashes that have closed the show. That said, WWE champions have prevailed in 4 of the 5 most recent WrestleMania finales where a title was at stake.
Right.
Nice stats right there. WWE Universe is well accustomed to welcoming WrestleMania on a Sunday, but for the first time in 1986, it did not happen as WrestleMania 2 fell on a Monday. It was the only time in WWE history that WrestleMania was on a Monday.
Wow.
Yeah. The Undertaker's undefeated streak at WrestleMania may be the event's most prestigious. Phenom isn't the only one, though, that has a record when it comes to WrestleMania. WWE Hall of Famer Bret Hitman Hart can boast as he has the most WrestleMania appearances with 12 consecutive years from 1986 through 1998.
Wow.
Yeah. And, but we should point out to you guys that both John Cena and Kane have competed on the grandest stage of them all every year since WrestleMania 20, which makes the next in line at the 2013 edition of this year. It's going to represent their 10th consecutive appearances. Triple H sits at 3rd all-time with 11 matches in a row, but his streak had stopped after 2006.
Yeah. And it's just ironic that they didn't set out to start the streak up. It just kind of happened organically, and it's one of the biggest selling points that they have for the event.
And closing it out, we got 2 more. Sky Dome. You all should remember this. 2002, Goldust had challenged Maven for the Hardcore Championship.
Wow.
Remember, this had mutated into Crash Holly pending Maven for the title, but the reign only lasted a few minutes as he eventually lost it to the Hurricane. But then Molly Holly and Christian came in, capitalized on the 24/7 rule to win the title, only to have Maven sneak up on Christian to reclaim the title and leaving in a taxi cab. That was one of the most weirdest hardcore titles I remember. They really need to bring that championship back. I actually missed that one. And, of course, he is like the Where's Waldo of WrestleMania. Of course, I'm talking about the one and only Howard Finkel. Somehow, every single year, every single WrestleMania, this guy has always found some type of a way to appear. He doesn't announce as he used to, but he's always he's always able to make an appearance somewhere. So that rounds it off. Pretty good list there, and that was your 10 but strange WrestleMania facts. Diamond, was there anyone out there that kind of jumped out at you that you didn't know about?
Nothing really jumped out at me, but it's always good to hear these type of facts, and it gives you just a different perspective on the whole event.
Yeah. Of course, we're already hearing the rumblings that some people, they kind of thought that maybe Booker T shouldn't go in to the Hall of Fame, that it's a little bit too soon, that there's still other people that deserve to go into the Hall of Fame, and I don't want to get into that because that's an entirely different show itself. But what I will say, I know there's those that are, what about the Owens? What about the Macho Mans? What about the Luthez? Their time is going to come. But, I mean, right now it's a time for celebration. I don't think we really should be kicking back and nitpicking. Be proud that WWE is, acknowledging one of the most decorated African-American wrestlers of his time. And, I'm proud of the man, I was proud of Rocky Johnson, but, for me, this really kind of stands out a little bit more, and I guess that's mainly because I grew up watching Booker T. I'm sure you definitely grew up watching Booker T as well, Diamond.
Yeah, definitely.
It's icing on the cake to hear this guy get inducted, and maybe we should try to see if we can get him on the show. I know he's been kind of been nice from time to time to grant folks interviews, talk about his books and all that. Maybe we could try to see if we can pick his brain and see what he thinks about his Hall of Fame induction and all. And that's going to do it. I think we did a damn good show tonight. We pretty much went a little bit everywhere. Just in case you guys might not know, WWE Raw, they're going to be coming to the D.C. area on April 1st at the Verizon Center. I had already put the video out, but in case you didn't check it out on our YouTube channel, I have tickets on the way. And I have a damn good seat, and I'm actually going to be on the road for that event, and I'll be sharing tweets and pictures, all that good stuff throughout the night. It all begins as soon as I get my tickets. I have track and confirm. I'm going to be getting them tomorrow. Hopefully I can get off work in time and catch the UPS guy. If not, I don't know, I might have to leave a note to him to drop it off with the neighbors or something. But check it out. It all begins with me cheesing, showing the pictures of the tickets, and I'll be covering the event. And I don't know, Diamond, I might have to drop by Ustream Radio for the Raw Post Show you got on Monday, show you some love. And make a brief cameo. I'd be more than honored to pop up, and then we could talk about it more Tuesday.
Absolutely.
Awesome.
That's what it is.
Awesome. Because I got to show some love to Diamond, man. And let's do that then. Y'all can check that out on Ustream Radio next Monday night. Diamond's got the WWE Raw Post Show. So for those of you that might be looking for a YouTube post show from our channel, you won't get it next week. Diamond is where you want to go. And I've actually been checking out the post show you've been doing. It's good stuff. I like the guy you had on there last week. What was his name?
Jammer.
Yeah. I loved hearing him talk about the old school Raw. He knows his wrestling. I like that guy.
Yeah. Good guy.
Very colorful character. I like him.
Yeah.
All right. Well, in the meantime, the talk of wrestling, it may end here, folks, but be kind, rewind any episodes that you might have missed out. Check it out on the downloads, iTunes, Zoom marketplaces. Just use keywords, the RCWR Show. You can check it out for all your respective portable devices. And if you have an Xbox 360, PlayStation 3, you know, there's a cool YouTube app that you can download, and you'll actually be able to stream all the great content that way. So check it out. Check out Diamond K's channel at the Diamond K Show, and you'll never miss out. We'll be back this Thursday night for Impact Showdown Radio, covering the fallout from Impact Wrestling Live. Can't wait to see that. Should be a damn good episode. For the one and only Diamond K, Black Avenger, Lee Sanders, wish you all to be safe, be kind to one another, folks. See you this Thursday night. Everybody, take care.